Ever since Ancient Fairy Dragon got unbanned a little over a year ago, I've really been curious about what it could do in the TCG, but I never really got around to testing it until about a couple months ago. I was calling a good friend of mine, and we were talking about Ashen. That deck had just gotten announced, and nobody really knew what to do with the cards. The cards were kind of bad, but it evolved into a greater discussion about field spells and field spell design. And it was at that moment that I finally decided to sit down and really take a look at what I could do with Ancient Fairy Dragon. I wanted to find a one-card combo to enable Ancient Fairy Dragon to do Ancient Fairy Dragon things. And this is what I came up with. I hope you guys enjoy. After mulling things over for about 30 minutes, this is the combo I came up with. So, as the one-card starter, I chose to run TG Rocket Salamander. Now, TG Rocket Salamander, as you may know, is a one-card level 5 synchro, which is very important for reasons I'll get to in a moment. So not only is it a one-card level 5 synchro, but you have many ways to access it. Because it is a level 1 fire pyro, it is not only searchable off of Bonfire, but it is also summonable off of the original Sin, making Wanted and Diabellstar one-card starters as well, as long as you have a discard, which you will. So, just for the sake of showing off the basic combo, I will just show you the one card. So we start with the Rocket Salamander. Rocket Salamander go into Screw Serpent. Screw Serpent brings back the Rocket Salamander. And now that we have a level 5 Synchro, we will Synchro summon Ib the World Chalice Justiciar in the Extra Monster Zone. So Ib is really important for getting us to our Ancient Fairy Dragon, not only because she searches a revival spell on summon, but also because when she is sent from the field to the graveyard, she summons a World Chalice from the deck. So because we summoned her in the Extra Monster Zone, we can link her off our Gravity Controller, trigger the Ib to special summon Lee the World Chalice Fairy anywhere other than the Gravity Controller Zone. We will go Lee to search World Chalice Guard Dragon. Now, the World Chalice Guard Dragon is a bit of a brick. This deck has a lot of bricks, but I'll get to that in a moment. So, the World Chalice Guard Dragon is pretty important for getting ourselves access to the field spell, because we need both halves of the combo. We need the Ancient Fairy Dragon itself, and then a way to get to the field spell. So, we can succession back the Ib, and then make Ancient Fairy. Now we can Ancient Fairy special World Chalice Guard Dragon. Obviously, you don't need to use the Ancient Fairy Dragon to summon the World Chalice Guard Dragon if you went through Original Sin, because you don't have to use your normal summon on the Rocket Salamander. But this is just for like the basic combo. So, after summoning the Guard Dragon, you can make Striker Dragon. Striker Dragon searches Boot Sector Launch. And now that we have access to Boot Sector, we have the AFD plus Field Spell. Now, the Gravity Controller is a little bit weird, but thankfully Lee has a graveyard effect that can tribute off the Gravity Controller to add itself back to the hand to clear the Extra Monster Zone, because we want to get rid of this because it has a restriction that it can't be used as Link material on the turn it is summoned. So yeah, this is the basic combo. We're going over an exhaustive list of field spells. I came up with about 20 that I think are worth talking about. So, traditionally, Union Hanger is the centerpiece of a lot of these Ancient Fairy Dragon strategies. Because Union Hanger is one of, if not the most powerful field spell combo starter that we've ever seen in Yu-Gi-Oh! Magical Meltdown can suck it. But all jokes aside, the ABCs are very strong. You go Union Hanger, search B. Union Hanger, attach Union Driver. Union Driver attaches another ABC piece. Probably C. and then you can use the Union effect to summon out the sea, and then make some link plays and do your whole ABC combo from there. Now, a lot of these builds were focused on 2-card combos that started with Union Hanger plus something else, something like Dragon Ravine, for example. So Dragon Ravine in these sorts of decks has traditionally been a way to get to Ancient Fairy Dragon via Destrudo. Destrudo makes some really easy level 7 synchros, which gives you AFD access. Now, in our version that has the 1-card combo, this isn't as good because Union Hanger starting your ABC combo takes your normal summon. Either that, or you need to use the Ancient Fairy Dragon effect to summon out the bee, which, if you've noticed in our combo earlier, we've had to use both the normal summon or use both the normal summon and the effect of Ancient Fairy Dragon to summon out the Chalice Guard Dragon. So this is not really an option for us. These decks would also play something like the Hidden City. The Hidden City is really nice because you can go Hidden City, grab Guru, and then Hidden City flip up the Guru to get yourself a Fiendish Search. And then this gives you a nice negate as well. So this is cool, but again, this doesn't work in our build because of the way we've set up our combo. So Dragon Ravine doesn't have to just send Destrudo. There's a lot of other stuff you can do with Dragon Ravine. However, searching for Dragoonity monsters, there's not really any great ones. You can go for Remus, maybe grab a second Ravine, but then things get really, quite frankly, they get really sad from there. There's some restrictions on those cards that don't end up doing anything, and at that point, it's just better to play pure Dragoonity. Obviously, you can Ravine dump Abzerrouter, Abzerrouter search Tracer, but at that point, you've already been through your Boot Sector launch, so unless you use, like, pseudo space to copy Boots, it gets really sad. It's just bad Dragon Link if you do that. So I've opted not to look into those further. Calarium is interesting. You can Calarium search Visa Starfrost. Starfrost can use his own summoning condition to bring himself out. Then you can link it to Lightheart and do the full Scareclaw line from there. Barone and all. It's quite good, but the problem is that this is just worse than Vanadium, which is really not where we want to be with this deck. So we need some more independent payoffs that are not just worse versions of other decks. One of those independent payoffs, the first one that comes to mind, at least for me, is Boss Stage. Now, Generator Boss Stage just spits out a generator at the start of your opponent's turn, when they draw for turn. So spitting out a Har is alright, but it's just one negate, and searching Boss Stage off of AFD doesn't really lead anywhere, which is pretty unfortunate. Dragonic Diagram is an incredibly powerful field spell, but that's because of True Draco, not because of True Kings. Lithosagem is unbanned, but ripping the 3 monsters from your opponent's extra deck is pretty cool, but setting us up is a nightmare, and almost certainly not worth doing. Moving on to some better field spells, we have Walls of the Imperial Tomb. This is the Horus field spell. You can search Imseti with this and do your whole Horus line from there. This is extremely promising just because it's nice extension. The Horus cards give you incredible combo extension to do your generic extra deck plays, which is quite nice. Speaking of generic extra deck plays, the Horus guys make rank 8s like no tomorrow. And one rank 8 you can make is Gigantic Champion Sargus. Now, Sargus adds you a Therian card, which you can use to grab Disc Coliseum, which you can use to search Therian King Regulus, which is really, really nice to have access to, because it's just a generic Omni negate. So that's a nice piece to add to an end board. Now we have some other powerful combo enabler field spells. Kyoto Waterfront. is an incredibly powerful card that you've probably never read, unless you've played a kaiju deck. The problem with kaijus is that the secondary effects of the kaijus are usable by both players, which has made kaiju historically a pretty bad deck, but we aren't using the kaijus in a traditional way. We're not giving them to our opponent. So Waterfront gains counters every time a monster is sent from the field to the graveyard, so if you do some link spamming, you can get this guy up to a lot of counters. And then once you hit 3, you can search a kaiju, so we will be able to search Gameciel. And when we search the Gameciel, we can summon it with Soryuya Skuldred, and after doing that, we have the Gameciel Negate live. So Gameciel is an Omni-Negate that's not once per turn, just as long as you have kaijus to remove, which is just incredible. Being able to negate and banish multiple cards your opponent controls, or multiple cards your opponent activates, is just really, really strong. So I like this as a piece of an end board. An alternative to this is something like Libromancer First Appearance. Now, Libromancers have not historically been very good, but this is a one-card starter. So you Libromancer First Appearance, grab Doombroker, and then First Appearance can Ritual Summon the Doombroker by tributing something like the AFD, and then Doombroker can search your trap Libromancer Intervention, which is an Omni-Negate, which is really nice. It's an Omni-Negate that's in the form of a trap card, which plays around Dark Ruler Armor, which something like Gameciel does not. Now, there's some other field spells that are definitely worth considering, but not in the style of deck that I am currently testing, but I may do a future video on it if you guys think it's interesting enough and request it down in the comments. So, Nightmare Throne is a new card. I believe it's coming out in Legacy of Destruction, although it might be a bit later. This is the Yubel support field spell that gets you your Yubel really easily, but it also searches just any 0/0 fiend, which the Sacred Beast guys, Spirit Gates, here. So this gets you to Dark Beckoning Beast, which is really nice. Obviously, this would need a lot of tinkering, but there's a lot of interesting combos that I believe you can come up with from this. So, going from Fiends to Dinos, Lost World is really interesting because, excuse me, Oviraptor is a really powerful starter, and doing combos with Lost World can get you really far. As far as extension, Dinos have really powerful payoffs in the form of the Evil Czar Xyz monsters, which I think would be really good to look into, but obviously we're not playing Dinos today, so that's something to shelve and look at later. Black Garden is a really insane field spell, but I don't have anything in mind for it right now, but it's definitely something that's worth looking at. There's some really powerful synchros to support this card that I think has potential in the future. In addition to this, all of the field spells I just mentioned were combo enablers, but you also have some pretty cheesy floodgates that you can search off of Ancient Fairy Dragon. Zombie World and Necro Valley are the first ones that come to mind. Secret Village you can turn on just by making the Charmer links. Fire Prison is really good in a format dominated by link monsters. Looking at you, Snake Eyes, this might be able to scare off a Snake Eyes player or two, but I don't know. I mean, it's fine, but I don't think it's good enough. You could experiment by citing this, but it's worth a try, maybe. Summon Breaker's kind of cheesy. Basically, your opponent has to go to battle phase before they summon 3 times, otherwise it ends their turn. So this is kind of battle protection. It's not great, but it's interesting. Pseudospace is a generic utility field spell. In some builds of this deck, I could definitely see us playing 3 Pseudospace. Magical Midbreaker Field is another nice utility field spell. It's essentially called by the grave in a field spell. It protects you from targeting hand traps like Imperm, Veiler, and Mourner, which I think is really
After a solid 6 hours of testing and about 6 weeks of procrastination, this is the build that I've come up with. So I decided to go with the Horus stuff as the backbone for the deck. As mentioned in the previous segment, these cards are really good for this kind of deck. And yeah, this is a lot of starters. There's 10 Horus starters, 11 including the set rotation. Not to mention the 12 starters from the for the IB combo. So that brings us up to a total of 23 starters in a 60 card deck. So I am also playing two original and one subversion. I really like subversion. It's a solid going second card. I'm playing two original because it's a really good extender. If you have something like King Sark plus original, that's a nice little combo there. Because you can send the King Sark after you're done with your Horus plays. Yeah, so that's quite good. Also, I wanted to play Poplar as an alternative Bonfire search. So if you draw multiple starters, you can use Bonfire as an extender for Poplar, which is quite nice. Obviously, we're playing the bricks, which is part of the reason why I'm playing 60 cards. There's a lot of bricks in this deck. I'm playing all three Horus bricks for maximum combo extension. The only hard garnets here are Poplar, but that's non-essential. Screw Serpent, which is a pretty bad garnet, but again, we're playing 60. And sometimes Lee, but if you discard this, it's no longer a garnet. So Ib can summon, when she leaves the field, she summons a World Chalice from deck or graveyard, so you can discard this with King Sark or Imseti and then summon it from graveyard. So yeah, that's not a hard garnet in all situations. One nice thing about this deck is that Walls of the Imperial Tomb can put back some of your bricks into the deck, which is quite nice. I did opt for the Waterfront and the Disc Coliseum, so I'm doing both of these because, unfortunately, one starter does not quite get to the kaiju negates. It gets you extremely close. Like, you're literally one link material away from being able to set up Gamma Seal with a bunch of negates. It's kind of heartbreaking, but that's why we have to opt for alternative end boards sometimes, which is why I'm playing the Disc Coliseum. So there's a lot of powerful starters. They don't all get you the entire full combo, but you can improvise a bit and make a decent board regardless of which starter you start with. So because I am playing 60, I have room for non-engine. I'm playing 16 hand traps, Nib, Imperm, Ash, Droll, Veiler, and Mourner, along with some hand trap insurance in Tactics, Cold Buy, and Midbreaker Field. So, doing the math on a 60 card deck, there is a 92% chance to draw at least one combo starter, to see at least one combo starter plus at least one piece of non-engine. That's about an 81% chance. And to open two pieces of non-engine along with a combo starter, that's a little over 50%. So those are pretty good numbers as far as the math is concerned. So yeah, the 60 card pile really fits this kind of strategy. So for the extra deck, you have the combo pieces, the Ib, the Gravcon, Ancient Fairy, Striker Dragon, the Saryuya, Sargus, Photon Lord, which is the monster negate. These are like your basic combo pieces. Photon Lord is technically not part of the main line, but it's extremely important to pair with the Horus stuff. You can make it before you do some of your Ib plays using the Horus stuff, which is really important if you want to play around hand traps in, let's say, games 2 and 3. Yeah, so as far as alternative endboard pieces, we have IP to go into either SP or Appaloosa, or you could just hard summon Appaloosa for like 4 negates, which is pretty good, using like all the Horus guys and stuff. Link Karibo is just utility. Barricade Borg Blocker, I wasn't playing this when I first started testing, but I found it extremely useful, especially when you draw Disc Coliseum or Regulus. So when you draw one of these two, you no longer need to make Sargus, but you still need to have a machine to make the Regulus live. Now, when you're link climbing, it's better to make a link 2 so you can climb into higher, bigger link monsters instead of just wasting a rank 8 to search nothing, which I find quite good. That's why this is in here. It can also discard bricks in really weird corner cases, which I find quite nice. We're playing some Charmers for link climbing and Celine because we have enough spells and this can help you link climb into some bigger guys. So, for the side deck, this is like half a real side deck and half options that I was testing that I wasn't quite satisfied with. So the first appearance, the Libromancer stuff is pretty cool, but the problem is that it's pretty high investment. So because you need 6 levels worth of ritual material for Doombroker, you have to tribute either an ancient fairy dragon or a Horus for this. Now, this doesn't seem like a big deal, but in testing, this was pretty. It was pretty difficult to make a big board if I went for the Doombroker line, because it cuts off a lot of the extension when you have to tribute off your AFD and keep the Doombroker on field because you have to return the Libromancer ritual when you activate intervention. So that wasn't quite good enough. Jet Synchron was also really interesting. I wanted to play Jet Synchron along with some other synchros. Borreload Savage Dragon came to mind first, but I also realized Crystal Wing is quite good for this deck because you can make it with AFD plus Jet Synchron. The problem with this is obviously it's good to summon off of original, and bonfire into Poplar into original into Jet Synchron was really good. If you started with Rocket Salamander, and specifically Rocket Salamander, and that was kind of the problem with that. A lot of the time, well, most of your starters, quite frankly, rely on original to function. So if you're not going through original, if you're going through original, you don't have the original to summon Jet Synchron, so it's just kind of a brick most of the time, unless you start with specifically Rocket Salamander, which I didn't like. The combos were cool, but it just wasn't worth it. It was too breaky. So obviously, I have some real side deck cards here. These are some different options. Crow, Bell, Bistioles, Crossout. These are just like alternative hand traps. Oh, these 3 are alternative hand traps that you can play instead of some of these. Maybe if you wanted to swap out the Midbreaker Field or the Called by going second, perhaps. So going second, things get a bit dicey because we're playing a pretty silly combo deck that has a lot of bricks. So when you're building a side deck for this, you want to keep in mind that, for example, you're not going to be resolving stuff like Kyoto Waterfront going second. You're probably not going to be resolving your Ancient Fairy Dragon combo going second, especially because AFD stops you from having a battle phase. So you can side out some of your combo pieces in favor of going second cards. So you have to have a pretty high density of going second cards in your side, which is why some of this can get a bit weird. So like you can side out the guard dragon, the fairy, maybe the boot sector. You keep succession just because it's an extender. You can keep Gamma Seal because it's a kaiju. You side out like maybe the waterfront, the Disc Coliseum, the Regulus, just that kind of stuff. So you need a lot of going second cards. I want to play Crosshead in this deck, but the problem is it's a 60 card deck. So you're less likely to draw crossouts. You get less mileage out of it when you play a deck like this. You want backer removal, obviously. Duster, Cosmic, just quality backer removal. Evenly is pretty good. Droplet is interesting. These are just like good board breakers. You can also play Dark Ruler. That's another board breaker you can play. And yeah, this is the list. Let's look at some combos.
So here I have a replay to show you. So this is a DB ladder match against Snake Eye Horus Volcanic. It's a pretty cool deck. We're playing against, we win the die roll. and open this incredibly stellar hand. So we start with set rotation, grabbing ourselves the the Imperial Tomb, and giving our opponent boot sector launch because it's a brick. So we tomb for Imseti, put back the Midbreaker field, we Imseti, grab King Sark, then we draw Diabellstar, which is incredible. We make Photon Lord, and then we start doing the combos. So we do the Ib line, so we go for Ib, go through Succession, yeah, do this combo, grab Guard Dragon. We Succession. I put it in the wrong zone by mistake, but it does not matter. I make AFD. I pop the field spell, or I send the field spell for Diabellstar. This is some free value. So when you start with set rotation, you can get some cute value off of this. When you're going to search the field spell anyway, or search a field spell anyway, you can get some free value. Just like that's something to note. You could also send like the Gravcon here or something for some somewhat free value. So it's quite nice. So we send the tomb. Then we activate AFD. This should be popped. He doesn't pop it until later, but this shouldn't be here. So we grab Kyoto Waterfront. We activate the Waterfront, and then we start gaining some counters. So we go for Lee, gain one counter from the Gravcon, gain another counter, go for Poplar, just for free discard fodder. Link Haribo, gain another counter. Now we go for the King Sark, go two more. Then we search our Gamma Seal, summon the Horus guys, link for a format Saryuya, draw four cards, put some stuff back. So now we have Droll and Valor. We have the Saryuya summoning the Gamma Seal. We activate Bonfire because we want the fifth counter on the Waterfront for the extra negate. Well, extra half negate. So I finally forced my opponent to get rid of the field spell. My opponent top decks 1-for-1, which is pretty good. But I don't think this hand can beat this. So he goes for Ash. I Gamma Seal the Ash because that's a good starter, and I don't want him leaving that on field. He goes for 1-for-1, illegally pitching the Blaze Accelerator Reload, which it needs to pitch a monster. So he goes for Bonfire, for Volcanic Trooper, and then I Droll here, grabbing the counter off the Bonfire. It's really nice. 1-for-1, I negate the 1-for-1. My opponent gets confused about how Kyoto Waterfront works, which is natural, I suppose. It's a very strange card. So I negate the 1-for-1. I let the Fire Reload resolve, I think. Yeah, because I want the extra counter. I Gamma Seal negate the Volcanic Trooper. I think this was a mistake. Wait. Yeah, he... Wait, did he discard for that? He's under Droll. He can't activate that. What the heck? I just didn't notice that. Whatever. He tries to Blaze Accelerator Reload, send Scattershot. So he goes Scattershot effect. So if you aren't familiar with how Volcanic works, Scattershot has like two different effects that activate in the same chain. So it's a mandatory trigger to inflict 500 damage to the opponent, but if it's sent by a Blaze Accelerator Reload, or a Blaze Accelerator, you can trigger the second effect as well. So the burn is always Chainlink 1 because it's mandatory, and the effect to send is optional, so it is always Chainlink 2. So this pays cost, so I just click the Photon Lord. I negate that. I still take the damage, obviously. He sends two more scatter shots for cost. And then I take the burn damage, as I should. My opponent is really confused. This guy's like 970 rating. I don't know why this guy is confused about how his cards work, but okay. So I'm going second now into a volcanic board. So My opponent goes for Volcanic Blaze Accelerator, tries to send Blaze Accelerator Reload, which you're not allowed to do. This sends the original Blaze Accelerator from deck to grave. It doesn't say Blaze Accelerator card, so I argue with my opponent about that. I swear, all these freaking Volcanic players, they only win by cheating. Don't cancel me, Volcanic players, I swear. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of, like, cheating going on when it comes to a Volcanic. People conveniently don't understand how these cards work. And the opponent doesn't either, but I know how Volcanic works. Yo, shoutouts to Andrew, the Volcanic guy at that one locals. Yeah, thanks, bro. I know this deck because of you. Um, so yeah, he dumps the Blaze Accelerator. Goes for Wanted in the main phase, by the way. So now I can drop Droll. Well, okay, he did this to bait talent, which I think was kind of smart. Yeah, so takes the talents. He takes the talents and then goes for Blaze Accelerator to summon the Trooper. Then he goes for Diablo Star. He goes for original grab Rimfire, link into Masquerena, Rimfire send. Goes for Emperor. Bring back the Rimfire with Oak, going for Flamberge. Doing the whole Snake Eyes combo, misclicking on the Flamberge. Flamberge, bring back stuff. Problem sets, bring back the Flamberge, put IP in the Spell Trap zone, go for Amblo Whale, and then summon out the Emperor. Emperor sets Emission from the deck. Yeah, so Emission's kind of crazy. Special Diabell Star, I try to play, but there's not really a whole lot I can do yet. He goes Flamberge for the Masquerena. Goes for Masquerena here. SP banish the back row. I punch over the SP. In battle phase, he summons a second Emperor, which is really difficult. So now I take 1,000 every time I special summon. And I have to deal with the Promsess as well. And it's just a big pain. I probably can't play through that, so I just go first this time. So my opponent has. Now, this would be an okay hand, if not for the. Yeah, I mean, this would be an okay hand. But the Im said he has to resolve here. Otherwise, the hand does nothing. So I go Bonfire, search Rocket Salamander. My opponent drops Droll. And then I talents snipe the Imseti. Now my opponent's hand is dead. So my opponent draws Duster and passes. So theoretically, what he could do is activate Blaze Accelerator, Special Emperor, but that leaves him with no follow-up, so I get why he just passed here. He wants to hold out for the Nib, but I saw the Nib when I looked at his hand, so I can make some plays in 4 summons. So I go for Ib here. I can't search because I already have the Succession. Punch with Ib. My opponent draws talents, or draws Thrust. Again, he should probably just go for the Blaze Accelerator and Emperor here, because now he actually gets value off of it. Okay, so this was a misplay on my part. I normal summoned the Veiler. I probably should have normal summoned the Ash. So, like, when my opponent does the Emperor play, I can Veiler the Emperor. But I go for Lee here. I succession back the Ib. So I'm trying my best to play around Nib here. So a part of me wants to play into Nibiru so I can activate Triple Tactics talent, but I don't think that's worth it. So I just go for Appaloosa here. I go for Disc Coliseum, search Regulus. Regulus equip the blocker. I can't Lee away the blocker because that's not how that works. It's a spell. Yeah, it's like an equip spell, so I can't send that, which is unfortunate. But I have 3 Appaloosa negates, the Regulus, and an Ash Blossom, so I punch her damage. Yeah, I get the beats in. My opponent draws Snake Eye Oak. He tries to bait out my Regulus with Duster, but I'm smarter than that. I don't fall for his bait. Goes for Blaze Accelerator, tries to go for Anima to bait something out. He baits out an Appaloosa Negate. He tries to thrust here, and I drop Ash Blossom, and my opponent quits. Again, he can special the Emperor, beat over my Appaloosa, and then try to make some plays. So I still have Linkuriboh in my extra, so I can normal summon the World Chalice Guard Dragon. Yeah, so if he goes Volcanic Emperor, I can normal summon the World Chalice Guard Dragon after he beats over one of my monsters, and then make SP banish the Emperor, and then attack into Anima for lethal. So it doesn't really matter. I would have won this match anyway, but yeah, that was probably a misplay on my opponent's part. So yeah, that was a replay. I hope this gave a good demonstration of the deck. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the more in-depth deck building style videos rather than like a regular deck profile. I put a lot of effort into it, so I hope you guys enjoyed. If this video does well, I'll probably end up making more of these. Let me know if you want to see that. I'd really appreciate a like on this video if you enjoyed, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. I'm probably going to be trying to break Dangalong next. I have some pretty interesting ideas for that, and don't worry, I won't be using sinful spoils. Have a great day.